What's up, guys? KFC Plays here, back with another video, and today I'm showcasing the Ki-44. Now, before we get into the actual plane in the game, we should probably do a little bit of background. Nothing too big, just a little information here and there. So let's start. It was less. So its predecessor, the Ki-43, is not as maneuverable as, its predecessor. Well, next, it was his brother, his bigger brother. Most pilots very, very poorly disliked it, and it had poor visibility on the ground, and it was much faster when it had to land rather than the Ki-43. And the maneuverability, the restrictions, they just didn't really like it as much. But although it was bad in those ways, it still proved combat effective and was clearly superior over the Ki-43. When you looked at the statistics, it didn't show good at all. It showed probably more worse than really any Ki-44 had done. Moreover, the basic armament of the Ki-44, the average plane when it was armed usually had a 12.7, two of them on the nose, and then 20mm rounds on the side. Late middle war, sort of, kinda. Early versions just had the 12.7s, and that was it. They just didn't have the 20s until a couple years down the road when designing it. Now, some did have the option of having two Ho 301 40mm cannons of limited range, so you couldn't really shoot them as far as you could, let's say, a Russian 37mm, which usually those things go for quite a while still being effective. So you can shoot something from 1,000 meters away. I don't know. Anyway, there are about 9 variants of them. I'm not too sure. We have the 4th or 6th in the line, right around that range. We have the Ki-44-2 OTSU. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure it abbreviates to something, acronym of some sort. I'm not sure. I'll put a actual the variant we have in game on the screen, and I'll also show you guys the 9 different variants. You'll probably only see 7 because the other 2 were just the same variants and basically didn't really need to be shown because, well, it was the same variant. The manufacturer, I'm not sure how to pronounce the company, but it was Nakajima or Nakajima Aircraft Company. I'm not really too sure how do you pronounce that, but it is pretty interesting. There were about 1,225 built, so it was definitely out there during World War II. It was not something that was slowly built and then towards the end of the war it needed to be mass produced. There was certainly a fair number of them, and they certainly saw their way in the war. The crew, 1 pilot, 29 feet in length, wingspan 31 inches. Its height was 11 feet, and it could load about 6,000 pounds, which was not bad. Its performance, its maximum speed was 605 kilometers. Its cruising speed was 400, so it's right around that age of that Spitfire 109. Stall speed is very poor, is 150. So if you're ever fighting a P-40, you will die immediately if you're trying to stall fight them. Surface ceiling, 36,000 feet. 36,700 feet to be exact, but you don't need to worry about specifics. The armament, as I said, it varied. It wasn't specific. But if you want to be specific, there's 2 12.7mm in the nose usually, or 1 or 2 HO 103 machine guns Usually it had 20 millimeter on the sides, or in our cases, like some during the war, they got the 40 millimeter, which wasn't a bad weapon of choice, but it certainly wasn't the most effective. As you can see in the game, maneuverability wise, the specs, it all really kind of matches up. And I say like it kind of. The speed is similar to the Focke-Wulf 190, but its dive speed is, completely different. Cruising speed, way different. And its stall speed is just absolutely horrible. So, it's a pretty decent plane. Especially when you take it out in multiplayer, you mostly find P-47s, P-38s, or P-39s. I mean, now we have a fighting chance in the game, but, it's not going to be anything, like, super big. ToJo is the next step to getting things like, a better, faster aircraft for the Japanese, but, this is what we got so far. I can compare it to the Focke-Wulf 190, and I would say it's good because they're two different theaters. Compared to those theaters, two different theaters, different opponents, different types of weathers, So really, the Focke-Wulf had a lot of 20s, but the ToJo right now has the highest millimeter in the game for planes. I almost said in the game for everyone. But, it really it's just a balance. It's a 50-50. Both planes went against each other. It would be hard to say who would win. At least in my opinion. Another thing, though, is maneuverability. Not at all good. The main issue is that things like P-40s can keep up with it, which is, when you have a P-40 on your tail and you're really worried about that F6F, which is more maneuverable than you, and that P-40 can barely catch up with you, it really just gets to you, because one small mistake, that P-40 could kill you. At least that's what happened to me today. As you can see on my screen, P-40, Anvil, thank you for the game. He is keeping up with me with most of my turns, so it's really hard to evade him, at least in my opinion. Not really much to say here other than, really, if you're asking if it's worth it, it's really hard. I'd give it a 6 or 7 out of 10, 6.5, mainly because I'm really disappointed in the speed. The way it starts shaking, I hate that. So if you want to buy a plane, I wouldn't recommend buying the ToJo. Although, if you're looking for an aircraft in the Japanese tree, I would definitely say the ToJo. Thank you guys for watching. If you really liked it and you felt like it helped you a lot, go ahead and leave a like, comment down below. If you didn't, comment down below and tell me what I could have done better. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and have a pleasant day. Peace.